This is Volusia Today, a public information radio program brought to you by the County of Volusia.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Volusia Day. I'm Clayton Jackson with the Volusia County Community Information Division. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Volusia Today is made possible by our sponsors, the Daytona Beach International Airport, the Ocean Center, Volusia Recycles, and Votran Public Transportation. Joining me today is my co-host, Dave Hunt. How's it going, Dave?
It's going pretty good. We had mosquito control in the studio last week, and then we had a bunch of rain the last couple of days. So I woke up this morning and went outside and looked around and tip and tossed everything in my yard because mosquitoes can produce in something as small as a bottle cap. So my wife's been on it too. She listened to the show last week, and she's been out checking our yard, and she came in the other day and she said, Dave, it's crazy how many things are in my yard that are in our yard that hold water. And I'm like, yeah, it is. So that was a great episode to listen to, and kind of, especially now, it's super relevant with all the rain we've had. So if you missed it, you can go back on the County of Volusia YouTube channel and check it out. It's there. A lot of good information. And then in my life, I guess, looking forward to, we're headed up to Maryland. End of the month. My wife's pregnant. We're having a baby shower. She's from Maryland. And we're going to be flying a Velo. So we're super pumped about that. Daytona to Wilmington, Delaware. It's about an hour and a half drive from Wilmington, Delaware to Maryland. We got the flights when I went on the Velo site and checked it out for $39 one way. I think for both of us and her, she wants a bag, obviously, so for the bags and everything, it was like $250. So flying out of Daytona is just a dream. It's amazing. So we're really looking forward to taking advantage of those flights and spending that time with family up in Maryland. So if you didn't know, Daytona Beach International Airport has the Velo flights now. Check it out. It could be a good option to get out and travel around and check out some new places.
Absolutely, absolutely. And before we really get into it, I just want to remind our listeners out there that we do have a Volusia County Council meeting coming up this coming Tuesday, October 17th. It'll start at 4 p.m. and it'll be held at the Thomas C. Kelly Administration Center in DeLand. If you'd like to check out the agenda, it is currently available at volusia.org/agenda. All right, so joining us today, we have some of our friends from the Volusia County EMS division. We have Phoebe McGee, who's a paramedic, and we have the infamous Kevin Captain, the EMS division director. And you used to actually sit in this chair, didn't you, if memory serves me correct?
Good morning, Clayton. Good morning, Dave. Yeah, I did sit there, and now in my new chair, well, I'm not warming it up much. I'm not sitting very much, but it's all a good thing. And thanks for having Phoebe and I this morning. Phoebe is, she brightens the day no matter where she goes. So it's really cool that you guys were able to bring us both on the show today.
It's awesome to have you back, former community information director, EMS director now, and comedian, right? We miss your jokes.
Well, it's comedian. Apparently they're crappy jokes. So
there's one right there.
And I heard Phoebe's kind of got a little comedian in her as well.
Does.
Hit us with your best shot. What's the joke of the day?
The joke of the day is, what do you call a cow that just gave birth?
What?
Is this radio friendly?
Decaffeinated.
Oh, it's very radio friendly.
Now, do you tell the jokes to your patients?
I do. I sure do.
That's the Phoebe protocol.
I try to get them to smile before we get to the hospital at least once.
That's the Phoebe protocol. Once you're going to smile at least once if you're her patient. That's awesome.
Sometimes they tell me a joke back. It might not be clean, but they tell them.
All right. So, Kevin, why don't you give us a quick rundown on what Volusia County EMS is?
Sure. Thanks, Clayton. So, our division, first of all, EMS has been around, since the 70s, early 70s, and we started off providing EMS services in Volusia County through the Daytona Beach Fire Department and through then the private enterprise called Beacon Ambulance. And Beacon was transferred over to what we called the Emergency Medical Foundation in around 1981-ish. And we became EVAC Ambulance. We did business under that name, and we did that until 2011, until the county acquired EVAC Ambulance, and now our name is Volusia County EMS. We operate anywhere between 22 and 24 ambulances a day, about 16 at night. We run several hundred calls a day. We've got a staff total of around 250. We have a 300 $300 million budget, and our goal is to provide the most optimal care to the injured or ill patient, and our tenets are excellence, quality, and commitment. And so it's a great division, and we're looking to always reinvent ourselves and look for better ways to make our division better and to provide the best care to our patients.
You started out as a paramedic, correct?
I did, Dave. Yes. It's funny. I was back in Wisconsin. That's why I talk funny, you know. So.
Hey, I'm from Kentucky, so you hear my voice too.
Yeah. I started back home. It was I did a first responder class at a printing company, and I loved it. So then I just migrated my way into EMT basic school. And in Wisconsin, we had 3 levels. We had basic, intermediate, and paramedic, and I did that pathway, and then went into nursing. But it was a wonderful entry into my professional career, and that's actually how I met my wife. She was a paramedic partner of mine, and we were on the.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's the truth. We were on one of those trucks that we call dynamic deployment, where you're in the truck and you're kind of moving around to try to minimize response times. And we stopped in this gas station, and she ran in and warmed up her food, brought it back in the cab, and I smell it. Well, what is that? It smells so good. And she said, "Oh, it's prime rib." She said, "Here, you want some?" So she shared her prime rib with me, and I fell in love with her.
That's it right there. You know, Kevin's a barbecue guy too,
years
right?
Later, that's it. So we're still together. So
She would say it was love at first bite.
Another joke.
There
She got jokes and jokes.
See what I mean about Phoebe?
Well, did you ever see your life like paramedic to where you are today?
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all. I just had no. Some people have plans with what they want to do, and it's interesting. It's fortuitous how things pan out. But I tell people, I think a lot of it is the attitude that you put on every day, and I don't have to go to work every day. I get to go to work every day, and I think
feel
that's
the same way.
And you live that life too, Phoebe.
Yeah.
When she comes in the building, she lightens up the whole building.
You can tell.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
I really love my job.
So how did you get started?
So I had a family death that was pretty traumatic, and I wanted to be there for people the way that they weren't there for my parents. Like when PD told me that my mom was gone, they were just so rude about it. So I wanted to be able to be there and comfort the family, because like if the patient's not alive anymore, their family is my patient, and I want them to be okay.
That's heartfelt.
That's super heartfelt.
So that's how it kind of started.
Wow.
How have things changed over the years?
Well,
Equipment, technology, how has things changed?
It's like where to start.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff. So now we have like a video laryngoscope instead of doing a manual where you have to look. You can now see it on a camera.
That goes down your throat?
Yeah, so it
Okay.
helps you breathe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so we also have the Lucas device for CPR, which now you have good quality, high quality compressions throughout the entire time of working that cardiac arrest instead of having someone fatigued. So it actually gives you a better increase of living.
And we've got the Stryker power load
Yeah,
stretchers.
save them backs.
Yeah, so basically you push a button and it lifts the patient up when you're loading the gurney into the back of the ambulance, and those are amazing pieces of equipment because it eliminates a tremendous amount of back injuries.
So any EMS and paramedics listening out there, we have all these wonderful technologies and tools here at Volusia County EMS, and the work environment's great. You get to work on the beach. You get to respond and help all sorts of people across our great county.
You get to see a lot of different things.
Right, because I'm sure you do. And we got a busy time for y'all coming up, Biketoberfest.
Biketoberfest is next weekend. Yes, and definitely Phoebe's probably gonna be working the whole weekend. I bet
I pick up a lot too. Yeah.
Yep, and she also does a lot of things on her. I shouldn't say it's your day off because you're always working, but she'll go into the high schools and teach about pre-hospital medicine, and you do all
I do it
kinds
with
of
the kids, like kindergarten and below, and we bring like a little ambulance and let them see what we do. We teach them about safety, calling 911, and learning how to actually get their house number, their phone number. It's really cool.
She keeps herself busy. Yes.
Yep. So how does EMS factor into Biketoberfest?
So that's a good question. So Biketoberfest, it's now, I think we're in our 31st year.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to put a plug out to Nancy Kiefer with the Daytona Beach Chamber of Commerce and Georgia Turner with the West Volusia Advertising Authority. Those two amazing women were responsible for the bringing Biketoberfest to Volusia County.
Oh, wow.
They are, and they're still active participants and philanthropists for the county, and And you gotta, when George is here, you gotta tell her that's been on my mind.
I will for sure. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
But yeah, we've got a busy weekend coming up next weekend, and we've got probably about 100,000 people that come in
They're already
for the
starting
weekend. Yeah, they are, and we usually find Biketoberfest to be a little more of a localized event, so local residents, statewide residents, whereas in March and Bike Week we see a little more northern visitors because they want to get away from the snow and the cold. But our bikers and riders are we're all getting a little older, and as a result we've got some healthcare issues and some emergency medical needs through that weekend. So we're busy. We're busy not just for orthopedic and traumatic head injuries from motorcycles, but we also see things like diabetic emergencies, respiratory, cardiac, and so we have kind of the whole. What'd you say, Phoebe? Kind of the whole spectrum of calls.
Yeah.
So it's not just you're responding to calls that somebody rolled over their bike. It's like
they can have like a diabetic emergency on their bike.
Oh.
And now which one is which? What came first?
Wow.
And you never really think about it, right? Like, we are a tourist destination.
Yeah.
The influx of people obviously correlates to more calls, more people coming into town, more things. Do you up the staffing levels during those time periods?
We do. We try to have additional trucks, and if we have to extend the shifts or do whatever we got to do. I mean,
we also have
Phoebe.
like the QRV that comes on.
Yep.
We have 2 people just in like a little Sprinter van or truck, and so they can respond quicker during heavy traffic areas and get to where we need to go.
And we just purchased, it's not on the road yet, but we hope that it will be by next week. It's called an ASAP vehicle. It's a little mini, almost like an ATV type vehicle that will help us. Yes, they're putting the label on it right now. But it'll help us maneuver easier in some of those areas of
Like Main
congestion.
Street.
Yep, exactly.
Main Street gets crazy.
It does look.
Maybe I'll be driving that.
It looks
I
super
know.
cute. You might want to take that to the schools. The
That's
kids
the
will get
only
a
thing
kick
I
out of
wanna
that.
drive.
It looks like, like you said, an ATV with an ambulance box on the back.
Right.
It looks
And
super
that's
cool.
what that's what agencies like New Orleans uses on Bourbon Street. In those areas that they're tight and you need that increased maneuverability. And what that does is it helps rendezvous, so you can get a patient and quickly transfer them to a nearby ambulance and then continue transport to the hospital.
So let's talk preventative. Like we're heading into it. What do people need to know? Let's say they're coming into town, they're listening, they just tuned in, just scrolling through the radio, and they found us. What do they need to know? What are some good safety tips heading into Bike Week?
I think, Dave, that first of all, that's a good point. Everyone out there, put your phone down. When you're in the car, put it down. I mean, that is the biggest number one distractor, and it's a commonality we see with a lot of motorcycle crashes. They say that when you're looking at that primary prevention program that you hear, look twice, save a life. It is the truth, and it makes such a difference. I mean, you look once, and if you look again, it's amazing the speed that you'll notice that a bike is so much closer. In fact, the Idaho STAR, I think it's the Department of Transportation in Idaho, has an amazing video on YouTube where it basically shows somebody looking once and not looking again, and boom, the bike is right there. It's so put the phone down, distracted driving. That it just is the biggest thing, and then the other thing is the beverages. I mean, we've got to use good judgment, and it's a weekend where there's a tendency sometimes for some over beverage activities, and that's just a recipe for.
And I say helmets. I know that you
There
don't
you
have
go.
to, but please.
Right.
Especially if you're drinking. Thins your blood. Now you got a head injury, and then you're 72 and not doing well.
On blood thinners.
Yeah.
Right.
You got everything stacked against you. Let's just live to see tomorrow and wear a helmet.
And then even for just like us local residents, right? Like I've lived here my whole life, and during these big event times, I usually just try to kind of stay home. I'm not out on the road a lot, and if I do go out, I have the understanding that just slow down, look twice.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it
Plan
doesn't
ahead.
last forever. It lasts for a week, a week or two, 2 weeks in some instances.
I do love being in it, though.
I'm sure, yeah. I bet you're
It's
you're
so
a paramedic.
I love the crazy.
Right.
I live for chaotic.
She's Phoebe Adrenaline McGee.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the truth. We really have to be patient, and also just to give distance between the cycles on the road, and just like you said, Dave. I mean, just having patience and just being very mindful and don't let anything distract you behind the wheel.
Limit that road rage.
Yeah, right.
Because people, like, bikers will get between your lines, which they're not supposed to, but then people get all mad and chase them down, and then boom, now you got to fight and all that.
So
Then it's a different type of call.
Yeah, right.
So wear a helmet.
Limit your drinking or have a DD.
Or take an Uber.
Yeah.
Take
Or, yeah.
Yep. All right, so with that, we're going to take our first commercial break. Stay with us for more Volusia Today.
Make the most of your day at the beach. Download the Volusia County Beaches app today. Sign up for real-time notifications on vehicle ramp openings and closings. Find staffed lifeguard towers. Get updates on tides and beach conditions, plus off-beach parking and coastal parks info. Volusia County Beaches app is available for your smart devices at the App Store and Google Play.
We're back. I'm David Hunt along with Clayton Jackson, and you're listening to Volusia Today, a public information program brought to you by the County of Volusia. This morning, we have Volusia County EMS in the studio. We talked a little bit about safety messaging going into Bike Week, what we can do as residents to kind of help out and keep our visitors safe and keep ourselves safe. And we also want to talk about a little bit about recruiting, right?
Absolutely, Dave.
Y'all are
Yeah,
hiring.
you bet. We're hiring EMTs, we're hiring paramedics, and we've got John Reckenzone. He's a recruiter, and you can basically email emscareers@volusia.org, and you can go online and check us out. We've got Facebook and Instagram, and John's a great guy to be able to answer your questions, and we've got a really unique and very solid onboarding process. Phoebe, you went through it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. So I remember it took a little bit of time initially to get like your background check and all that. And then once I got hired and I started my new hire class, I immediately went into clearing and I cleared, and then I was on my own. It wasn't very long.
Quick and painless.
Yeah, I cleared in relatively pretty quick. So I think I was on my own in like a month and a half, 2 months.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Who are you looking for? Who makes a great EMS paramedic? What kind of qualities do those people have? Is it young people, old people? Are they got to be adrenaline junkies?
I think it matters if you have compassion. I think
Okay.
that's the biggest thing. Like, if you don't have any compassion, you're just kind of here for the name or the status, then it doesn't really work. You can make as much money as you want, but do you care? How do you treat them behind those doors is my biggest thing.
That is so true. You're seeing people at perhaps the worst time of their life, and you're the one that they're seeing, and so
I feel like that is the most humbling experience, is that you can be in that vulnerable time with them and let them know, like, hey, at least you're not alone.
So EMS is much more than just the physical care
Yeah.
that you provide your patients. It's also like that mental, that spirit,
yes.
like helping somebody.
At least for me it is, and that's how I think it should be. There's no greater privilege.
It's got to be so rewarding, right?
It is, yeah.
You leave the day smiling, you helped.
Some
I'm sure
days.
I'm sure it's got to be
Some
tough too, because you never know what you're going to get when you arrive. But yeah, it's got to be super rewarding. And I'll just say this: you have the captain over there at the helm.
my wife's still the admiral, Dave.
Right. I've never worked for somebody who was such a great leader in general. So.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, it's the truth, man. So I know that you care, man. So it's great working for you, and I'm sure all your staff now gets to reap those benefits. We're not happy about it. But I think that's a big thing too, right? Is when you go work somewhere, leadership matters.
Yes, that's a huge thing. And someone I feel like we have similar values, so you can see that this is going in a positive direction, which is huge. And it makes you want to tie down your roots.
And I couldn't agree with Phoebe more. I mean, I love working with the crew that we have because it's like she said, they come in to make a difference, and they come in because they care, and they chose the career because they want to make a difference in people's lives, and they want to make our community a safer and better place to live, work, play, and visit. Right?
There you go.
And it's amazing when I see what they have to sometimes sacrifice. They're in the trucks, and it's hard work some days, right, Phoebe?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you get shifts that are back-to-back calls, and you're running.
My truck is generally like that, but
you're a magnet.
I am. Everyone says that. Gorman, one of our battalion chiefs, he says it just follows you. I know.
But the amazing part is she's maintains a good positive attitude throughout, and then at the end of her shift she'll go through this is what I had today, and you become such a better provider every shift you work.
Thank you.
It's great.
That's awesome.
And Kevin, I've heard a couple of people talk about a sponsorship program that EMS offers part of your division. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a lot of people, when they have a little keen interest in EMS and they're not sure if they want to take the paramedic pathway right away, they can go into the EMT program, which is essentially a semester, and they can work for us as the EMT level, which still allows them to provide care out in the field and drive the ambulance and work with a paramedic, and they can kind of sort of get their feet wet and decide if this is, do I want to go to paramedic school? And so it's a real win-win when we have the EMTs that are fresh out of school, they start working for us, they realize they want to advance, and so we've got a sponsorship program that we work in tandem with Daytona State College. And just last August, we had 7 graduates that were EMTs for the division, and they were graduates of the paramedic program at DSC, and now they're in the clearing process.
Actually, one of them's my best friend.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
So it's really, the opportunity that is there, and it's truly amazing. I mean, where are you going to go to start working right away and be able to get sponsored and to get to be...
And to get the diversity of calls you get.
Right.
It's the truth.
It really is.
And also, I just think that's one of those, like, if I could go back in time, I would probably do something like that just to have that skill set for the entirety of my life. The things you learn can apply in so many different...
It's never too late.
Well...
Phoebe, you're not stealing day from us.
Fit it in your
Sorry.
schedule, man.
Well, I'll tell you so I don't know if I would be right for it, right? So here's the deal. I go to my daughter's 7. We have to go to the dentist to get her tooth pulled by the dentist, and we're sitting there and I'm watching it happen, and I start getting all queasy and then I have to sit in the chair, I gotta sit down, and after we're done, my daughter goes, Dad, are you all right? I'm like, I don't know what just happened, Finley.
But see, I do that with like my husband or like someone I really care about. Like, I feel a little. But then everybody else, I'm like, it's fine.
Okay, so that doesn't disclude me, I guess.
Myself though, I can't see my own blood.
Okay, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I go to get all queasy.
But everybody
for sure.
else, I'm like, I got you.
Okay. Okay. So how would you know? Like, do they kind of, when you go to school, do you
You'll know on that first clinical.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
There it is. So check it out for sure. I feel like, it's an amazing, and from your story alone, Kevin, the paths it can take you and where it can lead you, right?
It's really neat. I mean, not only do you learn about healthcare and clinical delivery of care, things like that, you learn a lot about life.
Mm-hmm.
You learn a lot about sometimes I think how fortunate you are. Sometimes just to, often we're caring for patients, and like I said, it might be the worst day of their life. They're going through a lot of things, and sometimes the way I look at it is, you got good days and bad days, and when you got a bad day, sometimes if you reflect on the patients that you transported, they would exchange their problems for yours at any day, and so it really the field teaches you. Not just clinical skills, but life skills.
I think it also helps you realize you don't have to freak out over little things like you used to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Things that seem really big now are minuscule.
And things roll off Phoebe's back all the time, right?
Yeah,
It's all perspective.
it is.
All right, and before we take our last commercial break, this is something that I just learned not too long ago, that Volusia County EMS is the only one in the state of Florida with an in-house cadaver lab.
Yeah.
She just smiled. Phoebe just smiled really big.
Yeah, that's why I kind of lost my words for a second. So real quick,
We've been dying to get that.
There's another joke. There's another one. All right, so real quick, just tell us a little bit about what that is.
So that's a partnership that Volusia County EMS has with the University of Florida and the medical college there. And so I think it's every year or thereabouts where we get a new cadaver, a fresh cadaver, and we've got it at our base unit. And basically, we use it for training. And like Phoebe was mentioning before, the video laryngoscope, and that's where we have to insert a tube into somebody's trachea to help them breathe. Well, when they're in the training and the clearing process, they actually do that on the cadaver. So they're able to do it using, a real human being. And we're grateful for those people out there that have donated their body to science, because it allows us a really unique opportunity as pre-hospital providers to be able to do things like that. And it's not just airway, it's also like needle decompression and some other things.
And you get to do IOs. Yeah.
which is intraosseous.
There we go.
Y'all know
I'm terrible at that.
We got so many acronyms.
Right.
So, hey, that's another wonderful benefit of joining the Volusia County EMS
It really
team.
is.
All right, with that, we're going to take our last commercial break. Stay with us for more Volusia Today.
Make the most of your day at the beach. Download the Volusia County Beaches app today. Sign up for real-time notifications on vehicle ramp openings and closings. Find staffed lifeguard towers. Get updates on tides and beach conditions, plus off-beach parking and coastal parks info. Volusia County Beaches app is available for your smart devices at the App Store and Google Play.
We're back with Volusia Today, and I'm Clayton Jackson with Dave Hunt, and we have our friends from Volusia County EMS joining us. So real quick, Phoebe, closing messages for our listeners out there.
If you see us out and about, 7-Eleven, racetrack, just stop in and say hi. We'd love to show your kids and you the ambulance.
And Kevin, we're going to throw it back. Let's let you close out the show for us.
Well, thanks so much, Clayton. Thanks, Dave. And good to see Jared again here, too, in the studio. And like Phoebe said, if you see a truck out there, pop in there and say hello to the crews. They would love to be able to chat with you and show you around the ambulance. And they provide a tremendous service, and I'm in debt to the crews that work with Volusia County EMS. And you guys here in Community Information, we got a great county. And it's super terrific. So to close out, if I get to close out the show, then
Of course,
Dave,
it's the hardest part.
Well, take care, stay safe, and help your neighbors.
Crushed it.
If you have a comment about Volusia Today, or if there is a topic you would like to hear featured, please contact Volusia County Community Information at